The one thing that seems to come very prominently in media, or at least parts of the media, when discussed about the EU is the issue of sanctions. Now, we don't call them sanctions. We have an instrument called restrictive measures, which indeed are a targeted set of measures against a number of individuals, and then they include measures against the company, and then an arms embargo. So what does it mean? As regards individuals, we have active measures at the moment in place only against the former presidential couple, which means a travel ban, a visa ban, a freeze of assets. Then there's a number of 3 other people who are also on that list, but on a suspended basis, which means that we don't have any active measures against them. Then what is included is a ban on cooperation with Zimbabwe defense industries, which is an entity that was involved in different kind of dealings, and for example in the diamond business. Then an arms embargo, which means that we can't export armaments and other products as the like here. Now, if you have that list in mind, and then you think when people are claiming that, you know, your sanctions are killing the country, you're hurting the economy, and that's why Zimbabwe can't prosper and rise, you know, I would challenge them to explain, you know, how these very targeted and restrictive measures would have that influence. That list of individuals and entities in that list has been much wider in the past, and it's quite limited at the moment. So as you can hear and see, so frankly, this discussion about the effect of EU measures on Zimbabwe requires further detailing and thinking. I'm not commenting on other measures by other nations. Maybe I should also give a little bit of a background of what kind of an instrument they are. They are a highly legal instrument, and they are drafted and agreed upon on the basis that they would be, you know, could be subject of a legal scrutiny. So that gives the basis of then how those entities and individuals in under a restrictive measures instrument would then be included. Yes, the question about who they are, the three other names. So I remind you that these are not on the active list, but on the suspended list. So there's the head of the armed forces is there, and then we have the current Minister of Agriculture, and then we have Vice President Chiwenga on that list, but on the suspended list, so we don't have an active list. They are not on the active list, so there's currently no active measures on these three persons. So so coming back then again on the nature of and you know how these kind of instruments work, is that you need to find from open sources enough evidence and reasons to add people on that list. So we are now referring to what has been happening in the past. So people that have been linked to issues about violations of democratic principles and human rights. With time now, then that list has got much shorter, and it has shrunk. So it's much shorter than it used to be. But the main fact is that, you know, when you're looking at the list, then and when you're addressing, you know, the entities, including the Zimbabwe defense industries, is that you need to then be able to, if these would be challenged, it could be done on an individual basis. And earlier we did have a challenge against from a person who was included in that list, which was then that challenge didn't go through. So everybody who would be a subject in that measure is notified. A letter has been sent, and there's instructions of what one should be do about it if they are on the on that list. So this brings me back to the issue about how they are perceived as a means of collective punishment, because the whole instrument is about individuals, persons and companies. So so that's why I think it erodes the argument away from that these are intended to harm the whole population or a country because of some evil intentions by the EU side. It's it's the indeed these people who are on the have been when they are renewed, they are always notified, and they have they can challenge that decision.